If you've ever created a presentation before, or if you're going to work on a presentation in the future, then this is one of those videos that you're going to want to bookmark and keep for future reference. That's right, because today I'm going to be talking about how to format text in PowerPoint. And knowing how to format text correctly in your presentation can not only make your presentation look consistent and visually appealing, but it can also save you a ton of time and a little bit of headache. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you everything that you need to know about formatting text correctly in your presentation. This video is going to be slightly longer than some of my other videos, but rest assured it's going to be action-packed, it's going to be full of information, and I'm going to be sharing with you a ton of tips that you're going to love and be able to implement in your presentation as well. So buckle up, sit back, relax, and let the information just flow. And at any point in time in the video, if you feel overwhelmed with the information, feel free to just go back and rewatch the video again. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. So here we are on my computer screen, and I've actually just gone ahead and opened up the presentation. And for the purpose of this video, we will be using the delivery PowerPoint template. And if you really like the way this presentation looks, this template looks, I'm going to leave a link in the description below. Feel free to click and check out the presentation template for yourself. So how do you format text in PowerPoint? Well, the first thing that you need to do is add some text to your presentation. So let me just insert a blank slide right here, somewhere in the middle. Now the way to add text to your presentation is to first insert a text box onto your presentation. And the way to do that is click on the insert button and then head over to the text box option over here and just create a text box onto your slide. Now you can just directly start typing in the text box to add text to your presentation. But for this video, I'm just going to add some placeholder text. And the way to do that is just type in this quick formula is equal to RAND, R-A-N-D, short for random, open and close parentheses, and press enter. And there you have it. You quickly get a placeholder text to your presentation. Now, I'm not going to use the whole complete text. I'm just going to delete some of the text over here. This is a quick way to add some placeholder text to your presentation. And if you're not sure about what text you want to add to your slides, you can actually add a placeholder text, and at any point in time later on in the presentation, you can actually come back to this text box and edit your text. This way you can be sure what information is going to come to which part of your presentation. Now that we know how we've added text to our presentation, let's look at how we can format the text. And the first thing that we're going to do is work with the fonts. If you'd like to change the font of your text, simply click on the text box, head over to the Home tab, and click on the Fonts section. For this video, I'm going to be using Times New Roman for this text box. And the way we do that is you can actually scroll down all the way to find Times New Roman and click on it, or I can just type in right over here and press enter, and you will notice that the text over here has immediately changed to Times New Roman. Now you can also increase the size of the text by clicking over here and adding or increasing or decreasing the size. You can use these buttons as well to increase the size further or decrease the size. You can also change the font color by clicking on the font color option and choose a different color for your font. Let's just go with some bright color for the purpose of this example. The next thing that we're going to look at is how to add styles to your text. And by style, what I really mean is making the font bold, making it italics, making it underlined. So let's take a look at how we can do that. To make the text bold, just make sure that you selected the text box right here and head over to the Home tab and click on bold, and this will make your font bold. You can also click on italics and it will italicize the font. Similarly, you can also underline the font. You also get an option to strike through text over here, and by clicking it, you can actually strike through the text that is highlighted. To undo all these options, all you need to do is just click on them once again, and one by one you can see that all these options will be disabled. So that's how you add style to your text. Next, we're going to look at how we can highlight text in PowerPoint. To highlight text in PowerPoint, once again, you need to make sure that you first select the text, then head over to the Home tab, and then hover over and find out the text highlight color option. Simply click on this small downward facing arrow over here and choose a color that you want to highlight the text with. For this example, I'm just going to go with a yellow color, and you'll notice that this will quickly highlight the text right here. Now, in some of the older versions of PowerPoint, you may not really get this text highlight color option on the home tab. In fact, it may not even be available in your PowerPoint. So there are actually multiple other ways in which you can highlight text or even grab the attention of your audiences so that a certain section of a text is highlighted. But we're going to talk about that in a separate video. For now, let's just continue with looking at some of the other ways you can actually format text. Now that we've learned how to highlight text in PowerPoint, let's look at how we can add some outline to text in PowerPoint. I'm just going to go ahead and move on to another slide. Say we have this presentation slide and I want to add some text outline to this text. We'll make this slightly more bold. We'll increase the size of this text and also make it bold. And I'm going to work with a different font here. I'm going to use Montserrat. It's a bold font, and for a text that you want to use outline for, you want to have a bold font so that you get both the text as well as the outline is visible. Now, once you've highlighted the text over here, head over to the Shape Format tab, and right around the Fonts section, you can actually hover over to the Text Outline option, and from the drop-down, choose a color for the outline. I'm going to go with this yellow color, or rather the gold accent color. And as you can see, there's a slight outline which has been added to the text. Now you can tinker further with the settings over here, or you can head over to the outline section, add some weight to the outline and make it look more thicker. You can also change the color if you want. If you don't like this preference, you can also add some glow to your text over here. Just to give you an example, this is how glow would look on a text with an outline. And if you don't know what kind of outline you want to add, you can actually choose from one of the presets that are available. Simply click on the drop down and you'll have the font with an outline as well as some word art available in PowerPoint. The next thing that we want to talk about is how do we copy paste text in PowerPoint. Now this is one of the things that probably most of us would be aware. We would have used it in some application or other. And the shortcuts actually work quite similar to how it would work on a Word document or on your Google document or any other application that you perhaps may have used for copy and paste. Now the way copy paste works in PowerPoint is first select the text box that you want to copy. Then you can just right click over here and use copy, or you can just use the shortcut over here, which is Ctrl+C for PC and Command+C for Mac. I'm just going to select copy over here. And then head over to a destination slide. Let's say I want to go back to the slide, and here I want to add this text that I just copied from the other slide, and there you have it. This is how you would copy text from one slide to the other. The cut and copy are quite similar, but the only difference is when you use the cut function, you're actually removing the text from the original location and completely moving it to another location. Another thing that I want to highlight over here is the duplicate function. Let's take a look at how it functions. To use the duplicate function, you can simply press Command D on Mac or Ctrl+D on Windows, and it will simply duplicate the text box over here on this slide itself. So we'll just press Ctrl+D and see what happens. As you can see, I already have a copy of the original text over here, and it's just duplicated another text box right over here. Now this is quite similar to copy and paste, just that it saves you some time. Instead of using two functions, you can actually use just one function of duplicate, and you can duplicate the text onto the slide. Now the one thing that we need to remember over here is duplicate function only works on the same slide. So if you want to copy and paste to another location or another slide in the presentation, you will have to use the copy and paste function. Duplicate function is not going to work for that purpose. Now that we've learned how to cut, copy and paste, I'm going to move on to the next tool that we should be aware of, and that is the Format Painter tool. Now, just like copy and paste, Format Painter tool is one of the most critical tools that we can have in our armory when it comes to formatting text in PowerPoint. What Format Painter allows you to do is actually apply the formatting of one particular type of text and apply it onto the text that does not have that kind of formatting. So let's see how Format Painter actually works. Now let's just say that I want to apply this kind of formatting to the text over here. So all I'm going to do is just select the text over here, head over to the Home tab and use this Format Painter icon. I'm just going to click on it, and now I'm going to just select the text where I want to paste this formatting, and let go of the cursor from my mouse. And as you can see, the format has actually been applied to the text that did not have the formatting initially. Isn't that cool? The next thing that I want to talk about is clear formatting option in PowerPoint. Now let's just say that you did not like the kind of formatting that you've done to the text and you probably want to restart formatting the text on your presentation. How do you do that? There's a very cool tool that will actually allow you to reset the formatting completely. It'll actually reset all the changes that you've made to the font and completely remove all the formatting. It's called the Clear All Formatting tool. So let's take a look at how it works. Now let's just say that I want to reset the formatting for this text over here. Remember the changes that we had made? We had changed the text, this text right here from Calibri to Times New Roman. We had changed the size of the font and we had also added some color as well as some highlight. So now to clear the formatting of this text, all we need to do is select the text completely, head over to the Home tab and click on Clear All Formatting. And as you can see, the formatting of the text has been completely reset to the original text which was added on the slide. So this tool is simply amazing. It's very useful. You can actually use it to reset the formatting. If at any point in time, if you don't like what you've done, you can actually use Clear All Formatting and reset the formatting of the text completely. This tool can actually be used with shapes and other formats and elements also on the presentation. But how exactly can you use it with those shapes and other elements is a topic for another video, and I'll make sure that I cover that topic in a separate video and leave a link over here. Another tool that you should be aware of is Control-Z. Now I'm sure this is a shortcut that a lot of you probably already use, but I'm just still going to mention that for some of the new users out here watching this channel. Now Control-Z is a shortcut that will allow you to undo whatever changes that you've made to the text. Let's say you don't really like the previous change that you've made to your text. In this particular case, I probably don't want to clear all the formatting of the text which I just made over here. Now I don't want to go back and make all the changes to the font and the size and the color and the highlight. I can simply use the Control-Z option and this will quickly allow me to go back into the previous state this text was in. Now the last tool that I would want to mention about before we move on to some of the advanced features is how do we add bullets and numbering to your text. Before we add bullets and numbering to your text, the first thing that we want to remember is that a bullet or a numbering is only going to be added for each new sentence in your paragraph. So in this particular example, we actually have multiple sentences, but we only have a new one paragraph. So let's first take a look at how we can add bullets over here. Select the text that you want to add bullets and numbering to. Head over to the Home tab and select the bullet points option over here. Click on it and you'll see that the bullets are now added. Now if I want to add more bullets, I can just simply press enter and type in my text right here. You can also add bullet points to existing paragraphs by simply pressing the enter key before each sentence begins. Now, adding numbers to your text in PowerPoint works almost exactly like bullets work in PowerPoint. The only difference is, instead of choosing bullet points, you're going to want to choose the numbering option instead. Select the text where you want to add numbers, head over to the Home tab, and instead of bullet points, choose the number option, and this will create a numbered list for text in your presentation. If you have watched the video thus far, I can assure you that you've already mastered some of the basics of formatting text in PowerPoint. And before we move on to some of the advanced features of PowerPoint, I'd request you to click on the like button so that this video can reach out to many people who actually need to know how to format text in PowerPoint. Now let's understand some of the more advanced features in PowerPoint. And the reason I call them advanced is not because you need to be smarter than using some of the basic functions, but it actually requires you to invest a little more time in learning those skills, and the number of times you're actually going to implement these functions in your presentation is far lower than some of the basic functions. So let's learn some of the advanced features. The first thing that we want to talk about in the advanced features is how do you align text in PowerPoint. Now let's just say we have multiple text boxes, and I'm just going to use the duplicate function over here to add another text box right here. And I've just dragged this text box into this section over here. Now I have multiple text boxes that I have on this slide. First, let's look at how we can align text inside a text box in PowerPoint. Now the way we do that is just select all the text that we want to align, and on the Home tab you can actually see the align tool right here. We can align the text to the left, and you'll see that the complete text is now aligned to the left of the text box. We can also align it to the center, we can align it to the right, or we can just use justified text, which will make sure that the text fits in nicely within the text box. Now let's look at how we can align the text box itself with respect to some of the other text box present on the slide. Now let's just say that we want to align these three text boxes right here. As you can see, they are aligned, but oftentimes you will notice that you have the text boxes present over here and you try to align it with the left align or the right align, and oftentimes you miss out and it's a bit of a struggle. But I'm going to show you a trick that will actually help you align not just text boxes but every single object present on the slide, and you can use this trick to align any object present on the slide. Simply select all the objects that you want to align, then head over to the Shape Format tab, and from the Align option, from the drop down, choose the Center Align, and this will automatically align all the text boxes in the slide. Now as you can see, the gap over here between these two text boxes is much more than the gap over here. So again, we can go to the Align tool and use the Distribute Vertically option, and this will vertically distribute the text boxes evenly. This is a great time saver, and it's going to save a ton of time for you when you're creating your next presentation. The next thing that you would probably want to know is how to subscript or superscript text in PowerPoint. If you're a student or if you're a teacher, you're gonna love this trick and you're gonna find this really helpful. So let's learn how to make your text subscript or superscript. For the purpose of this example, I want to make this to look like logistics squared, and the way we do that is by making this text as superscript. Now to do that, first you want to make sure that you want to select the text that you want to make as superscript or subscript. Then head over to the Home tab and choose the superscript option over here, and this will look something like this. You can also make it subscript by clicking on the subscript option. You can also right click on it and go to the font section. This will open up a fonts dialog box, and from this section, this window over here, you can choose either to subscript or add superscript to the text. If you're using PowerPoint on PC, some of the options that are visible on the slide over here are going to be slightly different from what you can see on my screen, but rest assured, it's equally easy to find these options on your presentation as well. The next thing that we want to talk about is how do you indent text in PowerPoint. So let's say I want to indent this sentence right over here. Bring your cursor right to the sentence that you want to add an indent to. Click on the Home button and head over to the Indent tab and click on Indent More. This will indent the whole paragraph. You can also indent it further if you want by clicking on this, or you can indent it less by clicking on this button right here. Again, indenting text in PowerPoint actually deserves a separate video altogether. There are a lot of nuances that we should be aware of, and I'll make sure that I cover this in a separate video, and I'll leave a link in the description of this video over here. Two last things that I want to talk about in this video is choosing the line spacing of text in PowerPoint and also the character spacing, and converting text to columns in your presentation. Let's say we want to increase the line spacing between the text over here. Simply highlight the text, head over to the Home tab and choose the line spacing option. Click on it and you can choose to increase or decrease the line spacing. As you can see, the distance between the two sentences actually increases, and this is what line spacing will allow you to do. You can go back again and choose a different line spacing option to either bring it closer or further away from each other. You can also click on line spacing options, and from the dialog box, you can adjust the line spacing exactly the way we want by specifying the unit over here. If you want to increase the character spacing, again, make sure that you highlight the text that you need to change the character spacing for. Head over to the Home tab and go to the character spacing option, and from the drop down, you can make it either loose, normal, tight, very loose, and if you want to make a specific character spacing, you can also use the more spacing option. For this example, I just want to show you how loose option is going to look, and as you can see, the spacing between the characters has increased. The last thing that I want to talk about in this video is how to convert text to columns in your PowerPoint slide. To convert the text to columns, Simply select the text first that you want to convert to columns. Then head over to the Home tab and look for the Add or Remove Columns option. From the drop down, choose the number of columns that you want to add to your text. You can either choose 1, 2, or 3, or if you want to choose more, click on More Columns and specify the number of columns that you want to add. You can also add the spacing between the columns and adjust according to your preference. Simply click OK, and you'll notice that the 4 columns have actually been added to the text right here. Now, you can also choose to make it left aligned, and you can easily see how the column will actually look in PowerPoint. So there you have it. These are some of the most important functions that you need to know when it comes to formatting text in PowerPoint. Now, some of you might think that, hang on, this actually does not really solve some of my problems. Well, rest assured, these are by no means the most exhaustive list of functions that you can use to format text in PowerPoint. And I'm going to create multiple other videos that will help you understand these sections in further detail. I can assure you that you will definitely use some of these features the next time that you're creating a presentation. And when you do, just remember to come back if you don't remember how to use these functions. For now, this is Shroth signing off from Art of Presentations, and I'll see you in my next video.